Could Jeff McNeil be on the move this offseason? And where is Edwin Diaz going to land in free agency, if not the New York Mets? Welcome back to the True Mets Talk podcast. We are talking about exactly what David Stearns could have up his sleeve for us Mets fans and this Mets organization as they try to get back on track starting in 2026 after a failed 2025 season. Before we fully get into this video, please do smash those thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, comment your thoughts and opinions, all that fun stuff. And if you missed the latest on the channel, this is the second video dropping today. I'll link all the recent content in the description down below. All right, let's talk about Jeff McNeil because per John Heyman, the New York Mets are officially fielding calls for Jeff McNeil, with teams around the league calling about a potential trade of McNeil. Now, this shouldn't be news to Mets fans, and quite frankly, I'm a little bit surprised that this report is coming out when it did, especially following the other report that we have on Jeff McNeil, that he, I guess, quietly underwent a surgical procedure to correct thoracic outlet syndrome this off season. And he is approaching his age 34 season. This is the last year of control that the Mets have over Jeff McNeil. He's owed just over actually $15.5 million. And given some of the offensive decline, I'm not saying that 2025 was a bad season all around for Jeff McNeil. It was actually a lot better of a season than 2024. But still, ever since 2022, we know there's been a steady decline. And that could be due to a lot of things, but age is definitely one of those factors. So the Mets could look elsewhere as they try to shuffle this infield. Brett Baty is a versatile infielder, and there's a lot of options on the market. As I mentioned, this video is coming after I released another video talking about a potential Ketel Marte trade if the Diamondbacks are willing to part ways with their star second baseman. And a lot of you fans that have been commenting on my videos, yes, I read all of your comments. The consensus and what I'm feeling is that Bo Bichette is a name that if the Mets move on from Jeff McNeil via trade, you'd like to see the Mets go after Bo Bichette. Now, I also released a video talking about Bichette and why I would not go after him, given some of the defensive, I guess, incapabilities. The offense is there with Bo Bichette. It's going to be a new position. Lindor's going to be our shortstop, and he's looking for a long-term deal. I'm not quite sure he's worth what he's going to be asking for, but he would definitely make this lineup better over a guy like Jeff McNeil. Could be all about what the potential return is and whether Jeff McNeil is traded in a package or a standalone deal. If you include him in a package, you're going to have to attach a lot of prospects as well or major league talent, and you're probably going to have to eat some of that remaining $15.5 million depending on who you're getting back. But if you trade him straight up, a one-for-one deal, you're talking about maybe a lower level prospect or perhaps even a reliever to try to revamp this bullpen. I'm going to say this right now. I know there's a lot of Jeff McNeil fans in this fan base. I know he plays a lot of different positions. I would hope that he doesn't have to play any center field if he is a part of this organization, because hopefully center field is addressed this offseason. And Carson Bench maybe takes that position in spring training, potentially. But I would not mind whatsoever a trade of Jeff McNeil for whatever value you can get in return. And like I said, there are plenty of options, both internally and externally, to backfill that position if they want to get stronger offensively, or if they simply just want to get younger and have Brett Baty take over that position until Jet Williams is ready. Whatever have you. I think that this is a good idea, especially to create more roster flexibility. Now, that's the update on Jeff McNeil. Nothing is solidified. Everything is very early on in all of these reports, whether it's trade talks or free agency. So this is anything but sure. The Mets are just have it in their minds that they could float him out there if teams are interested in giving something of value in return. And this, again, isn't the first time that this is being reported, because SNY's Andy Martino also mentioned that the Mets were floating his name out there in trade talks this past trade deadline as well. So I think in the mind of David Stearns, his mind has basically been made up already. Yeah, they didn't pull the trigger on a move for Jeff McNeil at the deadline, but this offseason is the time to do it. And I think that could be what David Stearns is thinking right now. And Edwin Diaz, there's a lot to unpack here with Edwin Diaz. There's a lot of reports coming out, especially from Ken Rosenthal. Now, I don't know why Ken Rosenthal has this vested interest in particular about Edwin Diaz, but he is throwing out a lot of think pieces in addition to these reports that you can see on your screen right here from Ken Rosenthal, right? Diaz says his return to the Mets is 50-50. I'll get into that here in just a second because, like I said, I read an article from Ken Rosenthal, and the title was The Perfect Storm This Offseason for the Mets to Lose Edwin Diaz, right? And it was just all of his opinion, no factual information surrounding it. But here are the parameters of what we're facing. Diaz says his return to the Mets is 50-50, seeking a deal similar to what he signed before, 5 for 102. And Blue Jays also met with his agents. Ladies and gentlemen, I know a lot of people are going to go stir crazy over this quote from Diaz saying his return is 50-50. But what else can he say if we think about this logically, right? The Mets and David Stearns, he doesn't know if David Stearns is going to give him what he's asking for. And he deserves it. Whether it's a 4-year deal, whether it's a 5-year deal, he deserves a long-term deal with his production value over the past 2 or 3 seasons outside of that injury season that he suffered in the World Baseball Classic. And number two, Edwin Diaz also knows there's a lot of suitors out there that are after him, like the Blue Jays, who, according to Ken Rosenthal, are targeting a high leverage relief arm and could move Hoffman to the 8th-inning role. In addition to the Blue Jays already having met with Diaz and his agents, I'm sure other teams like the Dodgers, who are also looking to spend big, are going to, I guess, kick the tires on Edwin Diaz's free agency and see what it would take. And also another NL West team like the Padres, who could be losing their closer in free agency as well. There's going to be a lot of competition, even after these teams that I named, in addition to the New York Mets. So when you are Edwin Diaz and you give a quote with not much other supporting information surrounding it, right? And they take that quote, like Ken Rosenthal did, 50-50, yeah, it's going to seem like, oh, there's a real possibility of him leaving. Because guess what? There is. From a logical standpoint, when you say that if you're Edwin Diaz, I think the deciding factor, the number one factor is David Stearns going to make a competitive enough offer to me that can match what the Blue Jays or the Dodgers, whoever else is going to offer me? And at the end of the day, yes, Edwin Diaz says that he loves the Mets organization, and I'm sure that's true, right? But money is going to be also the deciding factor, the number one factor for Edwin Diaz, because this is his last chance to cash in on a long-term payday. So, Mets fans, this is my simple urge to you when you read all these reports and tweets from whoever, Heyman, Rosenthal, I don't care who it is that covers the Mets and Major League Baseball in general. There's a fine line between factual information, and the factual information is that he met with the Blue Jays and he's seeking something similar to his prior deal, 5 years, 102 million. But everything else is just fluff. It's all opinion based. And it's too early on into this offseason to be speculating as much as one of the articles that Ken Rosenthal dropped. So be wary of that. As always, I'll be here to talk about everything and break everything down for you all in the best way that I can. Stick around the channel, check out all the previous content, hit those thumbs up buttons, and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it. Let's go Mets. This should be a wild ride this offseason with a lot of moving parts. Buckle up.